Hey, what's up? It's me, JDS4696, and today I'm going to be giving a film review for The Martian. And this is directed by Ridley Scott, and it stars Mark Damon in the role of Mark Watney. And Mark Watney, he is an astronaut who just so happened to be stranded on the planet Mars. By his team, that he was with his astronauts. It was like an accident, and he was like somehow like left on the planet Mars, So that's basically what the film is about, An astronaut being stranded on a planet, that he's not really too familiar with, and he's like the only person on the planet. So that is kind of like intriguing and interesting, as well. Now this is like based on like a 2011 novel known as The Martian, and it was a science fiction novel written by Andy. I guess you pronounce it. I think it's Ware. I think that's his last name. Well, yeah, this film was adapted from that particular novel, which was released just a few years ago in 2011. And like I said before, you have like Matt Damon, like he's the star of the film. Like the other people that star in this film as well are Jessica Chastain, Kristen Wiig, Jeff Daniels. You have Michael Pena, Kate Mara, Sean Bean, Sebastian Shaw. A lot of familiar people in this film. But I guess the main point of the film, it is about like Mark Watney, or I guess you could say Matt Damon in the role of Mark Watney, his like desperation to survive on this planet, Like the film, now what kind of threw me off at one point, I didn't think it would go right into it like that. Cause I hadn't read the novel, so I didn't know that they would just open it, not to spoil it, with it already on the planet Mars. I thought you would see like the astronauts leave Earth and go to Mars, but it actually starts with them on Mars. Then like they're exploring, they're doing whatever they were sent there to do. I think it was like gathering like resources for like the planet Earth or something like that. They don't really like touch on it that much. But yeah, while they're on on the planet Mars itself, they basically were on a manned mission from Earth to Mars, and I'll touch on all these things in the film, But the like a storm like somehow arrives on the planet Mars, and it causes like an accident, and they try to escape. Like Matt Damon, with Mark Watney and like his team of astronauts, they try to escape, but somehow like they do get away. But Matt Damon, with Mark Watney, he is like hit by like debris from like the storm that the storm caused. Like it caused like this debris like to fly and hit him, and it knocks him away. So nobody don't know what happens to him, and they think that he's dead. So they automatically presume that he is dead, and they leave him on the planet Mars, and make their way back to Earth, where head in the direction of Earth basically. So yeah, that's what the film is about. Like Mark Watney, he awakes, and he realizes that his team of astronauts have left him on the planet Mars, so now he has to survive on the planet Mars, and it does seem kind of like far-fetched, but it's still interesting and cool, and it's kind of like scary and creepy, because you have this guy, this human being from the planet Earth, and now he's like in isolation on this planet, and there's no one there to help him. He doesn't really know that much about the planet, he can't even breathe on this planet, he had to always have on like his astronaut suit, to survive, But what was cool about it, he like while he's on the planet Mars, he has to somehow figure out a way to survive for like 4 years. It doesn't really last that long. I'm not gonna spoil it. It does still just last like a bunch of like days. I think it was. I know it was like over a year when do I think, if I'm not mistaken. Cause like in the film they didn't call it days. They called it like souls. Like the days were considered like souls, like SOL. I think that's what they call it, like souls. So he has to somehow figure, how to like transmit to Earth that he was still alive, And at the same time, while he has to figure out how to be able to gain communication with the planet Earth, he also has to survive. So what he does, he actually has to grow stuff on this planet, and like he said, like in the trailer, nothing grows on this planet. So he actually had to taste like his waste. Like his feces basically, like that you go take the bathroom with like your feces. He uses that, and like he puts it like in the soil on Mars, But he has it surrounded like in this like tent thing, I think. And it keeps like the air from getting into it or something like that, I believe. And somehow he's able to grow like vegetables, basically like potatoes. So he has to spend time eating like potatoes, And I think he has like other stuff too as well, like rashes and stuff. He has to survive off like growing potatoes and stuff like that. And he also still has like water. He has to make like water and like resources like that to survive, But eventually he does gain communication with like his Earth and like his fellow astronauts, and they have to devise a way to actually get to him and save him, you know. So that's basically what the film is about, like Mark Watney's like desperation to survive on this isolated, like in desolate planet, you know. Now I thought this was a good film, you know. I thought really Scott gave like a good direction on it. He's one of my like, well, he directed one of my favorite like science fiction films anyway, you know, the Alien film, the original one. I'm a big fan of that. It's one of my favorite films. So that was another reason, thing that kind of drew me into seeing it, you know. Plus I like Matt Damon films too, you know. Like he's a cool, you know, I think he's a cool star or whatever, you know. But yeah, I would recommend this. I guess if you like fans of the novel, I have never read the novel. It's relatively new. It was released in 2011, you know. So I guess if you were a fan of the novel too, in general, you probably would like it, you know. But yeah, I like the scenes of him being like desperate and scared and stuff like that at times, you know. I thought those were like cool, you know, like where, you know, like when he has to like figure out what to do and stuff like that. But at the same time, it still seemed like it was like just too like relaxed, though, you know, like too far-fetched, you know, like how could he be able to do this on this planet, like grow potatoes? How could he have water flowing and stuff like that? You know, it just seemed like it was too far-fetched at times, you know. And plus, it was like another thing about it too, like they don't really give like an exact time point of like when the film actually takes place. Obviously, it has to be in the future. But when they go back to scenes where they're on Earth and they're talking about how to rescue Mark Watney, you know, they don't really explore Earth. You know, it's like isolated. You know, you basically see like inside like NASA and stuff like that. Like the actual like I think like NASA and stuff like that. I think that's where they were at, or inside like indoor facilities. You don't actually get to see like Earth, how Earth looks or whatever, anything like that. So that's why you really can't tell if it's like in the future or like if it's like present day, basically. That's my problem with it, you know, too. I didn't know exactly when the film actually took place. But obviously in the future, because like the spaceships that they had were even kind of advanced, because they were actually like working out, like jogging and stuff, like the astronauts on the space station. I mean on the spaceship itself, which I thought was cool, you know. But yeah, I thought Matt Damon was good in the role of Mark Watney, you know, and it's still, I thought he was cool, you know, and the other actors as well, you know, like Sean Bean, Jeff Daniels, you know, I thought all of them, they did good performances, you know, and I forget the one guy name is, I think it's Shadowell Ejiofor, I think that's how you pronounce his name. I thought they were cool, you know, like in their roles, you know. Now like the musical score from the film, I don't think it really like stood out that much, you know, not to like criticize like the guy that did the soundtrack or whatever, but I thought it was okay. It wasn't really that much music in it, you know. But it did have like nice moments when it was intense, you know, like when he's like running out of breath or anything like that. I thought it was kind of creepy, you know, scary or whatever. But in a whole, I think I would give The Martian, I would give this a B minus. I thought it was a good film, but it still didn't really like, you know, take off, and it was still like just certain things about it, you know, that kept me from giving it a better rating. But that was still a good rating, you know. I would recommend it, you know. Yeah, I would give this a B minus because it was just certain things, and it was still a good film, and I enjoyed it, you know. And it didn't seem like it was as long as it was. It didn't have like this kind of like slow pace, but I was enjoying it, you know. I thought it was cool. It was never like, you know, like uninteresting. There's just certain things about it, you know, that kind of kept it from like being like A status, basically, you know. Like I didn't know exactly, you know, when, and they probably did say exactly when it took place, you know, and stuff like. And then at times it just seemed kind of like too far-fetched and not really like believable enough, you know, just like too far-fetched, you know. But yeah, this is my review for The Martian, and I give it a B minus, and this is a JDS 4696.